If you're a history lover, you'll want to hear this. Imagine standing in a museum, surrounded by the echoes of ancient civilizations, the air thick with the scent of old stone and secrets. You're not just looking at artifacts, you're peering through a window into the wild, unpredictable, and sometimes downright scandalous story of humanity. Today, we're diving into a tale that's got it all. Ancient mysteries, forbidden art, war, theft, and a triumphant return that's taken nearly a century to unfold. This isn't just a story about a piece of art, it's about how history itself can be lost, found, and sometimes hilariously misunderstood. The world's most infamous mosaic just took a wild ride, from volcanic ash to Nazi loot back to Pompeii. But let's rewind for a second. Picture the city of Pompeii, frozen in time by the catastrophic eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD. For centuries, the city lay buried under meters of ash, its secrets locked away, perfectly preserved. When archaeologists finally began to dig, they uncovered not just the daily lives of Romans, but their wildest, most private moments, captured in art that was as bold as it was beautiful. Among these treasures was a mosaic so notorious it would scandalize generations to come. Yep, this is one for the books. The story of this mosaic isn't just a footnote in art history. It's a saga that's been whispered about in classrooms, debated by scholars, and even censored by prudish Victorians. It's the kind of artifact that makes you realize just how much our ancestors loved to push boundaries, and how their sense of humor, and their sense of shock, wasn't so different from ours after all. So, imagine digging up Pompeii and finding a mosaic so racy, the Victorians literally locked it away. When 19th century explorers first uncovered this piece, they were both fascinated and horrified. The artwork was so explicit, so wildly outside the bounds of what was considered proper, that it was immediately hidden from public view. In fact, it was locked in a secret room in the Naples Archaeological Museum, accessible only to men of mature age and sound morals. The Victorians, with their stiff collars and even stiffer attitudes, just couldn't handle the ancient Romans' sense of fun. But what exactly was so shocking about this mosaic? This ancient artwork shows Pan, the party god, getting way too friendly with a goat. Yes, you heard that right. Pan, the half-man, half-goat deity of wild music, revelry, and mischief, is depicted in a scene that's equal parts hilarious and eyebrow-raising. To the Romans, this wasn't just a joke. It was a nod to the wild, untamed forces of nature, and maybe a reminder not to take life, or art, too seriously. But to later generations, it was just awkward. The mosaic became infamous, a symbol of the Romans' bawdy humor, and their willingness to laugh at the things most people would rather not talk about. The Romans clearly had a unique sense of humor. Their art was full of double entendres, cheeky jokes, and scenes that would make even modern audiences blush. In Pompeii, you can find everything from suggestive graffiti to statues with knowing smiles. It's a reminder that for all their grandeur and power, the Romans were people who loved to laugh, to shock, and to celebrate the messiness of life. And this mosaic, it was the crown jewel of their comedic genius. Fast forward to World War II. Nazi officers, supposedly protecting art in Italy, decide this mosaic is coming home with them. During the chaos of war, as bombs fell and armies marched, priceless works of art were swept up in a tide of looting and confusion. The Nazis, obsessed with collecting the world's greatest treasures, set their sights on Italy's museums. Under the guise of safeguarding art from destruction, they systematically removed masterpieces, shipping them back to Germany. And yes, even the infamous Pan and Goat mosaic was on their list. It was crated up, spirited away, and vanished into the fog of war. Translation: it gets swiped and vanishes for decades. No trace, no paperwork, just gone. For years, curators and historians searched in vain, combing through archives, following rumors, and hoping for a miracle. The mosaic became a legend, a ghost story whispered in museum halls. Some believed it had been destroyed in the war, others thought it was hidden in a private collection, lost forever. The trail went cold and the world moved on, until, decades later, a twist no one saw coming. Everyone thought it was lost forever until a German museum recently went, "Oh, this old thing?" In a twist worthy of a detective novel, the mosaic was found sitting in a storage room, tucked away among hundreds of other uncatalogued artifacts. It had survived war, neglect, and decades of obscurity, waiting patiently for someone to notice. When the crate was finally opened, curators were stunned. Here was the infamous Pan and Goat mosaic, remarkably well preserved, its colors still vibrant, its story still as outrageous as ever. Turns out it had been chilling in their collection, totally uncatalogued, classic. The mosaic had become just another forgotten relic, gathering dust while the world searched for it. It's a reminder of how easily history can slip through the cracks, how even the most famous treasures can be lost in the shuffle. But now, with the mosaic rediscovered, a new chapter was about to begin. A chapter of restoration, reconciliation, and finally, a homecoming. Now, after 80 years, the mosaic's finally back in Italy, restored and on display just outside Pompeii. The return was celebrated with fanfare, speeches, and a sense of justice finally served. Visitors from around the world flocked to see the legendary artwork, marveling at its survival and its journey. For many, it was more than just a piece of ancient history. It was a symbol of resilience, of the power of art to endure even the darkest times. And for the people of Italy, it was a homecoming long overdue. It's more than just an awkward goat story. It's proof that art and history can survive dictators, disasters, and even terrible taste. This mosaic has outlasted empires, volcanoes, and wars. It's been hidden, stolen, censored, and nearly forgotten. But it's still here, making us laugh, gasp, and wonder. Its journey is a testament to the resilience of culture, the importance of preservation, and the strange, wonderful ways that history connects us all. Every crack in its surface tells a story, not just of ancient Rome, but of every hand that's touched it, every eye that's marveled at it, every person who's fought to bring it home. What do you think? Should all looted art go home? The debate over art restitution is as complex as the history of the artifacts themselves. Some argue that returning stolen treasures is a matter of justice, a way to heal old wounds and restore cultural heritage. Others worry that moving art around the world can put it at risk, or that it's better to keep these pieces in major museums where everyone can see them. But one thing's for sure, every time a lost treasure finds its way home, it's a victory for history, for memory, and for the people who never stopped searching. Hit like, subscribe, and let's keep history weird. Because as this wild, winding journey of the Pompeii mosaic proves, the past is never as simple or as boring as it seems. There are always new stories to uncover, new mysteries to solve, and new reasons to laugh at the strange, wonderful, and sometimes scandalous adventures of humanity. So stick around, keep asking questions, and remember, history is full of surprises, and the best stories are the ones we share together.